Hello, my name is Prime, and welcome back to ATS Showcases, and today we are here once again in the 1.55 open beta update for ATS, and I'll be driving this beautiful Kenworth T680 Next Gen in the day cab variant today, hauling some fertilizer from here in Valentine, Nebraska, and we're going to head along the 20 and then down the 281 into Grand Island, and we are here in Nebraska for a reason that I touched on briefly in the previous episode here on ATS Showcases, my 1.55 first look. We're in the changelog of this open beta update. SCS Software mentioned that there are some new content additions in some of the highway networks here in the Nebraska DLC. And to be honest with you, I've been trying to look around to see where some of those content changes come, and to the best of my knowledge, some of these updates are just some new details along some of the highways and also preparation for future expansions, obviously Iowa being right here, and with the state just directly north of us being South Dakota. As far as I can tell, some of the updates along these highway networks are more minor, but I'll be driving on roads that we haven't driven on here in the ATS Showcase series before, so either way, I think it'll be a great delivery. Without further ado, let's get this T680 Next Gen started up and get on the road. Now, I am using one third-party modification today. That is what you've just heard, the MX-13 stock engine sound mod by Jerry, a free mod that is available on the Steam Workshop, and I will have the link for that down in the description below. All right, let's get rolling. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I certainly am. Great to be back here in ATS, and yes, we're hauling some fertilizer today with our box trailer and this T680 Next Gen from here at the Farmer's Barn in Valentine, to be specific, and we're heading down to the Venture in Grand Island. A wonderful delivery overall, and it is just great to be back here in ATS once again. Frequent uploads as I like to do nowadays, or at least I'm trying to do more frequently, and the 1.55 open beta, which is out and alive for everyone, and hopefully everyone has been enjoying the update if you've opted into it. I know some of you have, based off of messages I have received, and also thank you so much for the support on the first look video of 1.55. Yes, it was a little bit more of, shall I say, a podcast-ish style of let's just talk about everything going on in that update, because it is quite extensive. If you haven't watched that video, I would highly recommend you check that out. I'll try to have it up in the cards above if I remember, but 1.55 does bring in a lot of good things for ATS overall, and as I mentioned in the intro, this area of Nebraska seemingly had some content update, is what the blog post mentions in the changelog. Now, there is no dedicated section, from what I can tell, about these content updates for some of the highways around here in the Nebraska DLC, at least for those who own it. So I don't really know exactly what has come in, but looking around the map, if my memory serves me correctly, which some days it does, some days it does not, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, it seems like there's just some extra details and potential intersection changes, making sure that the expansions, primarily on the eastern side of the state towards Iowa, will accommodate the Iowa DLC. Now, in terms of the rest of the state, it seems like some of the highways, including this, the 20, has had just a little bit of a touch up on some areas, and some extra details again come in for just some of the other areas. I believe around the settlement of Laurel has had a little bit of some touching up apparently. Also some other highways, I guess the US 80 has had a little bit of reworking apparently in some areas. Again, I do not know the full extent of it. Comment down below if you've been able to figure it out. But for today's delivery, of course, I wanted to come back up into Nebraska. Been doing a lot of Nebraska DLC deliveries. Of course, it's a great DLC, but also, to no surprise, it borders onto Iowa, and expect to have a number of deliveries moving forward, at least in this general vicinity. I shouldn't have to say that, given that Iowa DLC is seemingly just around the corner at this point, which is extremely exciting. I'll be doing a lot of videos in the Iowa DLC, of course, upon launch, and then moving forward, we'll be branching out, and of course, we'll be coming through Nebraska. I am very much sure of it. And otherwise for this video, and hence the title of it, we are driving the day cab version of this T680 Next Gen. If I can also keep it in the lane. Oh my word, the cinematic cam is going nuts. I was going to say, if the cinematic cam would like to give me, okay, forget this. We're doing manual mode. If the cinematic cam would like to actually show the truck, it didn't. Sometimes the game likes to help me out with my content creation dreams. Sometimes it likes to spoil them, but we're driving the day cab. Long last, my friends, we're finally able to do this. Obviously drove the 52-inch flat-top sleeper in the first look video of the 1.55 update. For those who may not be aware, in the 1.55 update, or if you're running the beta as of now, you will now be able to have all the different options, or at least a lot of the different options, for the T680 Next Gen. No longer just the, well, anniversary edition or special edition truck that you couldn't really do anything with. So fantastic to have that. And yes, it's still technically what I would class as a higher end day cab configuration on this T680 Next Gen. I did put a lot of chrome elements in. I didn't run the cameras, similar to the last episode, just running standard mirrors. But overall, you know, higher end trim pieces, painted bumpers, not just plastic, all that good stuff. And I had a couple great questions actually on the first look video, or at least one in particular, about the different levels on which this truck will come out. Now previously, as some of you may know, the special edition truck was only available at later experience levels. I believe a level 25-ish, somewhere in that realm is what the numbers that were being thrown out in the comment sections. That truck was only available to be unlocked around that point because it was a higher trim leveled truck. It was of course intended to be a specialty edition with pretty much all the bells and whistles. It is supposed to be by nature a high-end vehicle. So earlier on, especially in the earlier levels of the game, you will not be able to get that truck. As far as I am aware, now keep in mind I am very, very high levels of experience points here in this save, so I cannot 100% confirm this, but as for all intents and purposes, from what I know, now that all the options for the T680 is in the game, you can now get this truck earlier than, say, level 25. You can get it earlier. The day cab configuration and chassis, basic chassis will be available, basic engines, basic bumper configuration, so on. All of that good stuff will now be available earlier, from what I can tell, following suit of all the other trucks in the game. And we're going to see if we can actually get by this tractor here. Use some of this MX-13 power. About 500 horsepower today. Well, specifically the 510. It's the MX-13 510. So there you go. 510 horsepower. So yes, those with lower level, shall I say, or lower experience level saves, you can now expect to see some options and unlock progressively options for this T680 Next Gen in the game, which is another level of excitement that I'm sure a lot of you have, because not only do we just have all these different options for those who are running a current, you know, progressional, realistic save, which is something, I don't know, I may bring back very soon. Just throwing it out there. I know there was a lot of talk about that and some great support and comments wanting to see it, so I may be obliging. Just keep an eye out here on the channel for that one. You will now be able to get this progressionally in part of your career, which again is just another level of greatness. Happy to see it. Okay, let's make a right-hand turn. Oh, there's a parked car on the inside. Made sure we gave it lots of space. No worries there. Earlier talking about coming back here to Nebraska, doing a lot of content for Iowa and so on. I also wanted to come back here because the Nebraska DLC, you may have noticed it in the map earlier, does have a lot of country road across it. Of course, there's some major highway networks, don't get me wrong on that one. But there are some significant, well, side roads like this, and extensive networks of it that run across the state. And for those who have been around here a while, you will know that I really enjoy these roads. A little bit more relaxed, take in some really nice scenery, more curves left and right. It's just more natural feeling for me, at least. I like the scenery of it. Some of the extra details around. Highways are great. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Sometimes the country road is the life for me, and I do quite enjoy it. And the Nebraska DLC has a lot, and it's one of, you know, it's a fairly new DLC, relatively speaking. So, quality's good. Overall, makes some great episodes in my book. And it's nice just to cruise across. Of course, we see some planes in the sky, enjoy our trucks driving across it. Again, nice scenery, farmland, etc. It's got it all. I do tend to enjoy it. So that's the kind of stuff that I look forward to doing more as we expand the map here. And, well, I say we, SES Software, and as I get to explore it with you watching in tandem, it is going to be very, very nice. And Iowa is going to be interesting to see how the mix of highway versus road network truly is. Oh, sorry, highway versus country road network truly is. In some of the blog posts leading up to the launch, or at least to date, it seems like the DLC will have a decent blend, but it also has talked about some of the major highway networks that run through it. So, in all honesty, given track records of previous DLCs, I do expect there to be a significant portion of highway infrastructure versus more country road. But I still have my hopes up for there to be some extra little roads cutting in and around the state and connecting into, well, for example, here in Nebraska. It'd be great to see. Honestly, would be great to see. I just want some more variety, and I think a lot of you would agree on that. And even the number of cities coming in. We've had a number of cities talked about, and there was another one just in a recent blog post that I do apologize was not able to make a Prime News on. Did put out a post on it, but regardless, wasn't able to do a Prime News on it. But there's been a few, and I'll talk about that in just a second, don't worry. There have been a number of cities confirmed, but it will be interesting to see the final allotment plus the settlements as we explore the state, just to see what the density actually is. Now, speaking about density and the segment to what is a recent blog post that I, again, wasn't able to do a Prime News on because of the plentitude of content coming from SES Software right now and my availability and some of the other stuff I'm working on for you guys coming up very soon. That is the city of Davenport, and actually part of the Quad City in Iowa, a famous area that there has 4 fairly major metropolitan areas basically all into one, massive one. The screenshots from Davenport were looking really good, and some of the information coming out of that as well. Again, you can check out the community tab on the Prime Simulation channel. It'll be one of the newer posts there if you are watching this upon video release. If you're watching this in the future, good luck to you. Or just make a Google search, honestly, for SES Software Iowa DLC Davenport. The SES Software blog should come up on it. Let's be realistic there. You know, if you're watching this years down the line, you could probably just find a video on the channel otherwise where I've done a first look driving to Davenport or something like that, delivery there in Iowa, because inevitably I will. Either way, great to have another blog post on the Iowa DLC. Again, just confirming that we are getting closer and closer. Was that like a map car? Hey, yo, sorry, side note. I think that was a... Cool. I've never seen that in the AI traffic before. That looked like one of like the Google or Bing or whatever mapping service you like. It looked like one of their camera cars that go around and map the street views. I haven't noticed that ever before. So either I've just been blind, or that is a new AI vehicle type here in 1.55. Because I know there's... Oh, let's go back to interior there, game. Thank you very much. Fat-fingered a couple buttons that didn't want to go the right way. Problem with some close buttons on the wheel and some chunky fingers. doesn't always jive very well. But anyways, when it comes back to the Iowa DLC, great to see some progression there. It seems to be getting very, very close. Exciting times overall. That's all I can say there. And I gotta get to the left lane here. I'm just really excited. I'm honestly really excited. Every single blog post we get just moves us closer and closer for a potential confirmed release date. And again, maybe you're watching this video and the DLC will then have a confirmed release date. Knowing my luck, it will probably be the day of this video release. It's just the way it goes, unfortunately. I don't pre-record these videos very early, but they are recorded at very least, 12 hours before the video goes live generally. So in that time, generally, things can happen, just again, knowing my luck. So again, it's the way it is. We gotta roll with the punches. So we shouldn't be too much farther until our delivery point at Venture. As far as I know, I guess we're kind of getting into Grand Island now, but I believe it's just kind of hop, skip, and a jump around the edge here of town, and then we should be getting to our delivery point. Actually, I haven't been to this facility yet, so we'll see what our reverse is like when we get there. And I have to redeem myself from the first look episode that I did. Well, the last one was 1.55 beta, because I did not set my mirrors. And for those who have a keen eye and are watching the videos intently, which I know a lot of you do because I read the comments, you will notice that the mirrors are set today. I did that. I did not forget to do that, unlike the last episode where I had prepped the delivery in the truck and admittedly did not set my mirrors because I sometimes forget to finish tasks or I get distracted. I did not set my mirrors, went to reverse, and decided not to change them, which I could have done, but I just was stubborn and I decided not to do that, and had a little bit of fun in the exterior cam. Yes, not highly realistic, but it is the way it is. Shake it up a little bit, right? Change it up. It's always good to have some change in life, but it still didn't go very well because I'm Prime Simulation, and what do you expect from me at the end of the day? A little bit sketch. So we're gonna see if we can redeem ourselves today in a few moments time, when depending on how this light rotation goes and what the AI traffic decides to do beside us here. We'll see if I can redeem myself with this reverse. Obviously, being a day cab truck and a standard box trailer should be a little bit more straightforward for me, a little bit more normal of a turning radius and also rotation radius for the trailer that I'm used to, being a more of a front axle configuration, unlike the rear mounted lowboy that it was previously in the last episode. But that is no excuse. That was mainly just a Prime Simulation slightly off his game. And so hopefully today's Prime Simulation, talking in whatever person or tense you want to call it right now, is on his game, and we're gonna see how that goes. Oh yes, we're rolling into Grand Island now, which is fantastic. Now, it has been subtle, and of course I've been talking over top of it, as I typically do in these videos. That is my style, after all, like it or not. This MX-13 stock sound from the mod. Now, the stock sounds with this T680 are not horrendous, but they are not great. That's unfortunately a trend across a lot of trucks here in ATS. Now, it may sound harsh of me to say, but there are some... Oh, we're in a tree. Lovely. There are some amazing mods out there, and you have to admit, they just sound more natural. And this engine sound mod by Jerry, as far as I am aware, primarily tweaks the tuning of the sound samples that are available from SCS software for the game. That's the level of, manipulation in some degrees that are happening. There are many of mods, for example, Jerry, where they are fresh engine sounds or other samples used. But as far as I'm aware, this one is primarily a tuning of the existing engine sounds. So that shows the potential in some ways. And yes, this is a more minor mod. It's not overly aggressive in terms of the sound mod, but it's mainly the turbo and exhaust sounds that really change the game. And that's what I wish would happen a little bit more with some of these other trucks coming in. And I know a lot of you would agree, there's just some of the tuning that just needs to be spruced up a little bit in a way. And I do not understand the reason why, especially for those that have a mod where it's just a tuning and maybe it's just a preference. I don't know. I don't know why it can't be like that base game. I don't get it. But as an ATS enthusiast, I am so incredibly grateful for those dedicated individuals like Jerry that put time and effort into either creating a brand new engine mod or just tuning the sound mod or the sounds and creating a profile for it, and allowing the rest of us ATS players to enjoy it. And in this case, and like most cases for all cases for the engine mods that I showcase on this channel, they are free. So it's one of those no-brainers, especially for the ones coming from the SCS software, or sorry, the Steam store page, or workshop. That's it. Get through the list there, Prime. You can figure it out. It's, again, a bit of a no-brainer on that one. It's just download it or subscribe to it, basically, with the Steam workshop. Subscribe to it, and then call it a day. You're good to go. So, again, it's one of those why not situations. And, you know, I just wish I could see more of them be present here in ATS by standard, or at least some of those higher profile sounds. But, again, it's just not always the case. Now, let's see if I've done this correctly. I don't think I have. I think I've already nearly messed this one up because of my mirrors. Oh, you know what? Okay. I'm going for the wrong spot. But you know what we're going to do? If you forget about what I've been just saying here for a brief second, I'm going to class this as I actually do want to keep going this way. You're on the right roll there, Prime. I'm going to take this as an excuse of, okay, I don't like blindside reversing. That's a publicly known fact at this point. So I'm going to take the opportunity to roll back, be able to turn around, see where I'm going with this, and then do a non-blindside reverse where hopefully I get things right. So if you forget the fact that I was genuinely attempting the first reverse there, we're just going to make it look like, oh no, we're just turning around because we didn't come in through the entrance because couldn't really fit. We're going to look out the window, as I have been told I'm allowed to do. Thank you, all my IRL truckers who defend me in the comments. I do appreciate your defense from some of the other keyboard warriors out there. Not too many of them on this channel, thankfully, but it is the internet. Things happen. Let's just spin her around here and see if I can make it somewhat respectable at the end of the day. Oh, gotta love the turning radius of this truck. Okay, there we go. I did overshoot it a little bit, but saved it at the end of the day, and I will take that every day of the week. Hey, that's not actually too bad for Prime Simulation Reverse. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Let's see which angles we go to. Let's go over here with a little bit more sunlight. Thank you all so much for watching. What an absolutely wonderful episode of ATS Showcases. A little bit more smooth than some of the episodes we've had recently in some respects, but it's great to be back here in the 1.55 open beta for ATS and just patiently waiting for the Iowa DLC at this point, and I know a lot of you are as well. Comment down below if you want to see anything else from me here on the channel, and otherwise, thank you all once again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.